Don't hear you. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us on this cold morning as we kick off the Tejon Revitalization Project. And today we have Rich Mulady from our Director of Public Works from the city to talk to us about the project, as well as Chelsea Gondek with the Downtown Partnership and one of our business owners, Eric Brenner. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Rich to get us started off. Rich?
Thanks. Yeah, good morning. Thank you. Thank you guys for coming. So we wanted to come together and talk about the project, introduce it, talk about the work that's about to happen, and just share with you some of the vision of the project and the timeline and kind of the reasons behind it. So again, I really appreciate you coming, and I really appreciate Chelsea from the Downtown Partnership, and we really appreciate Eric from Red Gravy, who is the head chef for a restaurant just around the corner here and on the first block of that project. So our team has worked tirelessly to incorporate feedback from the Downtown Partnership, from our businesses, to deliver a project that supports them, right? And can really enhance our downtown and the economy of the downtown. And we wanted to thank the business owners for working with us and offering their feedback and sharing their needs. So I wanted to talk about the project first. The first part of this project is the first 2 blocks. That's going to start on South Tejon here at Colorado, and we're going to go for the first 2 blocks up to the Kiowa intersection. And the project's going to happen in kind of 4 quadrants, and we've got some maps over that kind of show that. That's going to be kind of the sequencing of the project. A couple of key parts that and reasons that we're doing this. Tejon is a major part of downtown, and it's a vital corridor. And right now, there are parts of Tejon, especially that block, that are kind of confined, right? Kind of hard. Mobility is limited. And what we want to do is we want to make that a more inclusive area that's a better experience for people to come down and enjoy. We want to have wider walkways, wider and better areas for businesses to have outside eateries. And we want to really turn this block into something even more special than it already is. And that's really at the heart of the vision of this revitalization project. So I think secondly, and probably the most important, is we want to make it a safer street. We want to make it, make safety improvements that really help improve people's experience. And so with one of those, we're going to be creating more delivery zones, eliminating the center lane, and making the corridor just overall a better and safer place to be. So the third thing we want to point out in this project is that we really want to increase that accessibility, and that's really tied to those large 10-foot walkways and the ability for folks who may be mobility impaired to better experience that area. If you've ever walked downtown, especially at lunchtime on a busy a weekend, you can see that there are areas that are confined. In fact, a recent COS study showed that 30% of our visitors to the region have at least one person in their party with mobility barriers. And so if you're ever down in that area, you can experience that and you can see that. And one of the things we want to do is really eliminate those pinch points. So the last thing I want to talk about, and then I'll turn it over to Chelsea, was just parking. So while the project's going to be going on-street parking is obviously going to be limited due to construction areas and construction phasing. And so I just wanted to remind people that we have really great options for parking. In fact, we have 3 city-owned garages. We have one here at the Cab that's just across the street here on Nevada. We have the Bijou Garage, and we have the Cascade Garage. And these garages are $1 per hour, so that's a really inexpensive way to park. It's a great experience. Those garages are clean, they're safe, they're well managed, and I think people will really enjoy utilizing them while they're coming down and visiting the businesses that are on Tejon during construction. So the project is a multi-funded project. is a multi-funded project. We got about $1.6 million from a grant from the Colorado Department of Transportation, and the balance of the project is made up from monies from the parking enterprise and also funding from the Downtown Partnership. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chelsea with the Downtown Partnership to talk about her thoughts about the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. First, I definitely want to thank Rich and all of the city team that has been working with our partners so diligently over the last couple of months on this project. And to the businesses as well, we have a much better project than what we started with thanks to their thoughtful insight. We know that when great cities invest in themselves, there's a multi-fold return on private investment. And our downtown has seen over $8 billion in private investment over the last 10 years. This has included thousands of new residential units and dozens of new businesses, a couple of whom are in this very first block of this project. As identified in our Experience Downtown Master Plan, this project brings to life a signature street in our city center. As one of the highest visited areas downtown, the wide sidewalks, expanded patio dining, and a cohesive streetscape design with beautiful live plantings will continue to draw in more and more visitors to support our locally owned businesses. As Rich mentioned, Tejon is a major walking corridor and truly a spine of our downtown mobility network. And the safety enhancements in this project are vital for our growing downtown neighborhood and all of the new residents and visitors that will be patronizing our businesses. And I would be remiss if I did not mention the incredible opportunity for addressing accessibility in the heart of Olympic City, USA. Just like the world-class USOPC and USOPM down the road that incorporated universal and inclusive design elements to maximize accessibility for all of our guests, we're getting to do the same in our historic city core. And that means that we can make sure that downtown is welcoming to everyone. And of course, the Downtown Development Authority has the incredible opportunity to honor Busy Corner. At the intersection of Tejon and Pikes Peak, this was a historic social nexus, a gathering place for our city. And reinvestment in this space will allow us to continue that tradition. So again, I want to thank the city, utilities, our contractors, and all of our businesses for supporting this project as we continue to invest in ensuring that our downtown is the economic, civic, and cultural heart of our region. And with that, I will turn it over to one of our businesses in the first block, Eric with Red Gravy.
I don't have a piece of paper. I just wanted to express that it's been about 2 years now. I've been involved with the Downtown Partnership with the city. They've been very open to our needs and our worries about this project. I'm just here to report that, like, this week downtown, we've hit record sales. We've had record number of people in our business. Downtown is thriving, and this is just going to be another element that's going to be able to allow us to compete with other areas of the city that are also growing. We want downtown to be the prime place for people to come to eat, play, to shop, and this is going to be a part of that. My wife actually uses a wheelchair, so I've been very passionate about making sure that this is a part of the plan, not just for someone in a wheelchair, but someone who has a double wide stroller. There's all types of things that, like, we need to consider as people come down. And we want to make it a pedestrian-friendly place. Automobiles are great. They can go in the parking garages. And we do actually promote the parking garages as well. We have since we've opened. We've been there now 10 years at Red Gravy. We just bought the building last year, so we're deeply invested in this downtown corridor, and I believe that the work that the city has done, the Downtown Partnership has done, has been just immensely helpful in allowing me as a business owner to be excited about this project. I can't wait for it to start. I'm excited to see how it goes. Of course, the end product is going to be amazing, I'm sure. And we're going to be promoting it. I mean, we want to have people come down and see the progress. We will be open. We'll have discounted parking. We'll have discounted deliveries. A lot of businesses are finding ways to think of this construction as a fun way to engage with the city through the process. And I know that not only will we survive, but we'll thrive. At least I know I will, and I hope everyone else will as well. So if we have anyone who's worried about the businesses, I can tell you We are doing fantastic. We are excited about this project, and when it's done, we just can't wait to have everybody come down and see it.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric. Any questions?
Yes, I see that the project is set to begin on March 24th. My question is, when will the project be finished?
Yeah, Rich, why don't you handle that?
Yeah. So we are looking to get this first couple blocks done by December. So part of the and part of the things that we want to highlight about the construction of the project is the thought that's been put into and continues to be put into sequencing and how to appropriately address each block face with respect to the types of businesses that are there. So we certainly want to get in and out as quickly as possible. So, you know, that December is really the target in that, but also the sequencing of which blocks we're in at which time has really been given some thought. So I wanted to kind of add that. So.
And will this just be for that Tejon block, or are you planning to move this project further downtown after this is finished?
Yeah, it's a good question. So for right now, we just have the funding and the planning for the first 2 blocks. You know, certainly in the future, we'll take a look and see, you know, about expanding that vision as we can. But I want to make sure that people know that right now, in the immediate future, the next couple of years, these are the only 2 blocks that'll be affected, and the only 2 blocks that really have a plan or any kind of funding behind them. So.
We talked a little bit about the design through the years.
Yeah.
There's been talk about turning that into a one-way street.
Yeah.
There's been talking about doing something like a 16th Street where
Right.
we take everything off of it.
Right.
Why this design? And just part 2 of that, are we talking about sidewalks that are going to be similar to what we've done going to the Olympic Museum, wider like that, or?
Yeah, good question. I'll take the second. So the second one first. You know, we really wanted to have as wide a sidewalk as it can, so that you can accommodate kind of multiple uses in that sidewalk, as far as people walking, strollers, you know, mobility, you know, people with mobility issues, things like that. So we want it as wide as possible, but we also want it to have the widest possible option for the eateries, for the street eateries, which has been a real, I think, great addition to what downtown offers. And I think when you see restaurants like the Red Gravy, especially in the summertime, and I know Chelsea from Downtown Partnership and their members, you know, people enjoy eating outside. So we want both those. So I would say yes, we're really thinking about a very wide, kind of 10-foot on each of those. So you have a really wide 20-foot area. You're also going to have an area that's off of the walkway that's still, that is an additional area, you know, 5-6 feet. That's where the trees will be. That's where the other, you know, kind of street furniture would be. So that would be a very wide space. So to answer your second question, that's it. The first question, the one-way stuff. Yeah. So the idea of a mall has been talked about for many, many years. I think one of the challenges there is just the amount of traffic and usage and making sure that's viable. And I think those options have been looked at. This has been a long process of several years to kind of get to what is the exact right cross section, and we've considered all those. We've considered one way, we've considered the walking malls, we've talked to the businesses, we've talked to the partnerships, and we've said this is the right fit. So maintaining, you know, 2-way traffic without a center lane with those wide walkways, we as a community, I think through this community process, think that that's the right fit for Tejon at this moment.
And as part of thinking on that, we're going to still have parking, but it's not, how do I put this, not priority parking. We
Yeah.
prefer you to do the parking structures or side streets.
Yeah.
This is more
Yeah.
get in, get out parking.
Well, you know, one of the things that we really tried to do during this design is maintain the number of on-street parkings to the best we could. Actually, our goal was really to not eliminate any on-street parking. I think, you know, we will lose some spaces, I think on each block, but we've really minimized that. You're also balancing that with today's, you know, needs like pickup, drop off, delivery. I mean, you know, so where a couple of years ago we didn't even have Uber Eats, so we really need a 10-minute pickup drop off. Well, that takes a spot. You know, we want to make sure we have loading zones that are safe and not in the middle of the street. So that's going to take space. So you're balancing those needs, you know, within a very limited right of way. So, you know, we want to maintain as much of the current parking we have. We may lose a little bit, but we're also balancing that with the garages. I would say, I didn't say this earlier, but I would want to point out that Sundays are free also in the garages. So it's not only very cheap at $1 an hour, but you also have free on Sunday. So we've really tried to make garages a great option, although you still will have on-street parking.
On the subject of parking, because there's so much down there, can you talk about what the traffic impacts are going to be once construction starts and during the construction period? Street closure,
Yeah.
whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and I think so. This is a substantial project. It's going to be from really building face to building face. I mean, that's what we're touching. So there, this is a heavy construction. We're going to phase it in the best possible way that we can to maintain, some access to the corridor as we work in it. But it will definitely be affected. And so, some of the things we're going to do there are identify temporary loading zones so that we can make sure that we still have options for loading. We're going to have messaging on our apps that lead people to easy places to park, like the cab garage. And, we'll try and maintain as much on-street parking as we can, but during construction, they'll definitely be affected.
Does that mean one block, or maybe not both of them, maybe one block
Yeah.
at a time will be closed occasionally?
I think so. Yeah, and I think we have a plan for phasing that's kind of working one block at a time and strategically working through there. But it's also construction, and it's heavy construction, so we want to make sure that things come up in construction, and we're going to do the best we can to really minimize the impact as we work in the corridor.
Talk about how the street will look also. I mean, taking the center lane, the median
Yeah.
lane out.
Yeah.
So is that more room for people to park, or is that just more room for traffic to easily flow through, but more space in between them? What will the street actually look like to drivers when it's
Yeah, that's a good question. Really, the taking out the middle lane is what gives us the additional space to have wider eateries and a wider pedestrian walkway. So we're utilizing that in the pedestrian and the eatery walkways. You're still going to maintain the same widths of the lane, okay? But by removing that center lane, it gives us more area to work with from a pedestrian and eatery space.
Scott, that project page is going to have those updates, so if people are curious about what are those closures coming up, where they can learn it right now, we're going to be telling you guys.
Yeah.
And then also the project page, we go through that in a minute.
Yeah, and if I could jump on that, I think I was supposed to say this too, and I botched it. Eric is probably over here like, why are you missing all this? But, yeah, and we also, there is a website for the project, and we'll maintain that website, and we'll give it to you. But just for the sake of reading, it's colorsprings.gov/RMSTEJONSTREET. So colorsprings.com RMS Tejon Street. So Tejon Street, sorry. I like to mess with Tejon. I shouldn't do it. Anyways.
What about first responders? I mean, we're going to have limited access to that. Do you have any response?
Yeah, that's a good question. We've absolutely worked with the police and fire department. We do as a part of the project delivery and part of project engineering and planning and city engineering. So, we coordinate. We do that with all projects, and we also obviously traffic engineering and transit are a part of public works. So we have the opportunity to coordinate the project's effects on traffic and transit, as well as police and fire. So all those effects are considered during the project design and construction planning.
Some of the businesses I've talked to, they said, they're a little worried about, customers not able to come in.
Yeah.
Yes, we do have a garage.
Yeah.
But they still have to walk, they still have to put
Yeah.
their stuff. Do you have any plans for that?
Yeah, I think we want to work with each business, as best as we can to help minimize the impact. So I mean, I think different businesses have different needs, and we can talk about that. There's two kind of questions. That one is like, physically, how close can you get to the garage? I think if you think about this corridor, what's unique about it is that it's actually surrounded by 3 garages. So on the far north, up by Acacia Park, we have a city garage off Bijou. Right in the middle, we have a garage in Kiowa, and then we have a garage here on the south end. So there's public parking just circling, which is really great. The other thing that we're going to do is try and help the businesses by providing parking vouchers. So every month we'll help provide some free parking vouchers for like 2 hours of free parking so that the business will be able to, help ease the burden of maybe not having a spot that's, right in front of their business, but, if you have to walk a half block or a block.
They're also asking about parking operation hours.
Yeah.
Would there be any changes to that?
We just changed parking operation hours. It used to be 7 to 10. We changed it to 8 to 8. And then on Sundays, it's 1 to 8 on street and off street's free. So we'll maintain those same parking hours in the corridor. I think those will probably stay the same. So.
Do you expect this project to cause motor traffic displacement, and have you looked at surrounding streets and how they can kind of accommodate that?
Yeah, that's a good question. We have looked at that and we've thought about that. We've thought about that a lot. I mean, a good area, or one of the areas that we really focused on was the transit, to make sure that, the mass transit bus systems, and that we have routes and rerouting. So, there are a lot of other options around Tejon. It's only the 2 blocks, so I don't think traffic is going to be that deeply affected. I mean, obviously, the main corridor is Nevada, but we also have other corridors. So I don't think traffic is going to be that impacted in that area. Yeah.
And a question for Eric.
Sure.
When you guys first announced this project, I spoke with some businesses around downtown, and I know parking was a concern. I was wondering, as a business owner, do you have any concerns with this project? I know some businesses said with some of that street parking that some of their customers may not be able to easily access their business. Is that a concern you have, or?
Well, for perspective, Valentine's Day we had 400 people. There's 5 spaces in front of my restaurant. I always remind people of that as the city grows, kind of the mentality has to change a little bit. Using a parking garage is something we've promoted since the day we opened the restaurant. It's actually on our checkout. So when you check out and you pay, on the bottom it says $1 parking in the cab garage. So we've kind of helped to educate folks that come to see us. So we've been kind of promoting, it's clean, it's safe, it's well lit, there's plenty of parking, it's inexpensive, thank you for that. It's free on Sundays. So those spaces in front of our business, kind of getting back to the pedestrian talk, is that, again, 5 spaces in front of 2 restaurants. If they went away, it's not really going to affect the amount of people that come down. What the city has done a great job at in planning this, as well as the construction folks, is that it's going to be more modular, so that not just like one whole face will be done, but like sections within that face will be done. So each business will have a way to communicate to its guests, hey, construction's going on, here's how it looks, this is what we're doing maybe to help people come in. For me, we want to make sure we have accessible parking for folks that have, like my wife who uses a wheelchair. We want to make sure that we can do deliveries. Another amazing thing that we have on this block that I have to talk about is the Adamant Alley. We have, this project we started talking about it as we were finishing up the Adamant Alley. And that alleyway is completely pedestrian and accessible. And if for whatever reason there's some kind of a disruption in the front of our restaurant, we have a beautiful entryway to the back of the restaurant. There's art to look at, there's fireworks, there's all kinds of cool stuff going on. So, in this whole thing, again, I think there's been more than ample talk of like how we can ensure that people that come down not only get to come down and still access the businesses, but there'll be kind of exciting things to talk about and things that we can get people excited about the project and let them see the progress as it goes. We've joked about bring a hard hat down and get a free dessert, but just this is a community, and the community got all of us through COVID. My particular business, we doubled our revenue through COVID because the community support was so great. So we want to make sure that for our business that we're connected with the city and everything that's going on, connected with construction. The communication has been fantastic. And for the businesses that are worried, I get it. I am as well, but we we don't know what we don't know. We can only adapt, improvise, make sure that we're doing new things to make sure that we survive. I'm also working on ways that we can help support businesses, working with the Downtown Partnership and other kind of, I would say, angel investors who are considering ways that we can help support businesses that maybe do have a dip, that we can help prop them up. And that's why I'm here today, is because I really want to make sure that everyone knows that I've been involved for 2 years with this project. I've been in communication every day, and I truly believe that I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Most big cities, this stuff happens all the time. I've worked in other markets, and construction is a pretty normal thing. This is a big one, but to me it's more exciting. Like we don't have lights in our trees because we don't have any trees. We don't have. We kind of want to choke the traffic off so that pedestrians feel safer. These are all things that I am, adamantly excited about. And again, to any businesses that are worried, especially on our block, they can call me. We can get together. We'll be meeting and we'll be talking about ways to get through this to make sure that it's has the least amount of impact on our business as possible.
Can we hear from the Downtown Partnership?
Yeah, I would say that we're planning to do a pretty robust marketing push, similar to what we did do throughout COVID, so that we can make sure that our restaurants aren't too affected, as well as our retailers, anybody really in that block. And as Eric mentioned, we've been in constant contact and communication over several years, and we're really fleshing that out. So please, by all means, patronize these businesses during construction. You'll see a lot of information coming from us to push that as well.
Excuse me, can you talk about some of the modernizations to the Busy Corner, the historic Busy Corner, Busy Center?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So the Downtown Development Authority specifically came to this project recognizing the historical significance of Busy Corner. Again, that's Tejon and Pikes Peak. And anybody who's walked through that intersection as of late knows that area has deteriorated. And since it is such a significant piece of our city's history, we wanted to go above and beyond the improvements that this project in general is going to do. So we're actually looking at creating more of a plaza feel at that intersection. So removal of the most center flower beds so that we have more of an open gathering area. Some of our events definitely use that as a staging area, and we want to, again, create that opportunity for a social gathering place. So rebuilding those kind of the flower beds that are deteriorating, as well as doing some unique and enhanced aesthetic options, both in the crosswalks as well as on the sidewalk itself.
Any other questions?
I'll just have one more real quick, Eric. It seems like, I know you guys have been talking about this plan for a while, but it seems like some of the elements of what we're going to be seeing, you guys try or had during like the first year of COVID, for example, where a lot of restaurants were wanting to do things outside, setting up on the sidewalk, even closing off Tejon in front of your place on weekend nights or whatever, just to serve dinner to people out on the street or whatever. So I'm just wondering how much of what we're going to see kind of came from what you learned during, say, that first year of COVID.
Yeah, kind of to my point earlier of what we experienced during COVID is kind of that desire for additional outdoor seating. And as many of us noted in our remarks, it's quite tight, especially through this first block, which is known as Restaurant Row. And we've just seen a change in the desire from patrons and visitors in general to have more outdoor space. So being able to provide that in a consistent streetscape improvement and a permanent place, as opposed to some of the temporary parklets that were done, we've heard numerous businesses requesting that. So this is an opportunity to make that a permanent change, and along with that, a very safe permanent change.
Awesome. I just remind media, we do have some displays over here, and I have all these available to email to you as well. They're all on the project website at coloradosprings.gov/RMS Tejon Street. And there's also a newsletter that people can subscribe to receive updates as we move towards that end of March construction. So if anyone has any one-on-one requests for me afterwards, please see me. But thank you all for coming. We appreciate it. Thank you.